If I had to start over as a B2B seller in 2026, I lost my LinkedIn following, I have no network at all, and it was just me. I'll show you how to use Claude in 30 days to become the top performing rep and sales leader in your company. And after training 50,000 reps at Google, Salesforce, HubSpot, Snowflake, I've seen what can work and how you can go about it. And these 4 moves that I'll walk you through and these exact prompts is how another client generated $1.8 million in pipeline from what I am going to show you. And so without any further ado, let's get into it. So the 4 moves that we're going to talk about, number 1 is how to make your ICP your unfair advantage in the best way possible. Number 2 is how do you make sure you have the right triggers to have relevant messaging. Number 3 is how do you train Claude in your voice and not someone else's. And number 4 is how do you build that outbound rhythm. Now, let's dive into step number 1, which is the most important part, which is ICP. Most people, when they build their ICP, they don't exactly know how to do it. And so what that leads into random outbound activities and a waste of your own energy. And it's going to make you extremely frustrated as a sales leader and as a rep. And so we don't also just want to build this as a doc and forget it. So in 2026, as we're writing this video right now, it's easier to do this with Claude, your ICP. Your prospect really doesn't care that you know about their job title. What they care about is what they do in that job and understanding their world. That is business acumen and is one of the biggest luxury skills in our environment right now. It's the one skill that AI can't really fake. So how you go about this is going inside of Claude and simply asking Claude, hey, I'm going after VPs of marketing, VPs of HR, etc. And asking Claude, what are the top 5 challenges that my buyer faces? What are the top 5 priorities that they have right now? And what are they being measured on by the board? And the goal is you want to put this in deep research so it can do its thing. And Claude will give you a brief on exactly what the buyers care about. And you can cross-analyze that with your own product. I do this for every single persona that I prospect for our sales team 6 offer, our sales consultancy offer, VPs of sales, CROs, head of sales development. I know exactly what they are looking to do, and I know what points to talk about. I know what's keeping them up at night, and I don't have to ask that question because I already know. And now my messaging is going to hit relevant points to get more responses. That's the unfair advantage that a lot of people are not doing, and Claude can set you up, which now lets us build a project. Now let's get to move number 2, which is the trigger point. We don't want to build random list of outbound. We want to build trigger lists of outbound. Now, you may be asking more, what's a trigger? What you talking about? A trigger is a compelling event, essentially. It's when a company hires a new sales rep. A company has a product update. They got a funding round. They've expanded offices. It's when a company makes a move, and based on that move, or a person maybe posts something as well, that could be something too. When they make that move, the event opens the door for you to prospect them with something of relevancy. For every single person that's watching this video, from a sales leader to an SDR, AE, whatever you are, maybe you're a founder, you want to identify what are my top 5 trigger points that I can use to reach out to the buyer. So I'll give you an example of my top 5 trigger points. Are number 1, are they hiring sales development reps, which means that they have an increase in pipeline coverage, so they're hiring people. Number 2 is inside of hiring AEs in the job responsibilities. They say that the AEs are tasked with self-prospecting, which means that they probably need help with that because that ends up being an indicator. 3 is a product update. They need go-to-market messaging to outbound on the product update to get in front of the right people. So we know that that's critical and that's important. 4 is they're expanding offices, or they open up a new office, an SDR hub, an AE hub. I'll drill into that. Number 5 is new executive leadership coming in because they probably have an initiative to be like, well, we need to get more pipeline, etc. And funding can be included in that, but you get my point. You should at least have 5 of these that you're looking for in a company, and then you want to have 3 for certain personas that you can lean on too, right? When they maybe join a company, or maybe when they, hey, this VP of sales, we know this is a trigger point for the every single time. We call it just relevant observation points based on the persona. And then once you have identified these triggers, now you can ask Claude to find these trigger points as a prompt to go out there as well. And so now you can drop this into your outreach, your reply rates will jump up. And that's how, again, the client that we worked with, how they got 1.8 million pipeline, they followed this exact process by understanding the trigger points in the events, leveraging Claude to do that. So now they don't have to spend thousands of hours doing research. And then again, if I'm coming in new in a position, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to focus on the low hanging fruit. Why try to overwhelm the situation? That isn't smart. Now, number 3 is training Claude on your voice, not someone else's. So step number 1 to this is, if you right now have some winning messaging, put that into Claude and say, hey, these are my top 10, top 20 messages that I got in responses. What's the common theme and thread? Let's make messages like this moving forward. Because Claude can analyze that screenshot, and now you can go out and reach out successfully. Now, what I will say here though is, if you don't have any messaging that works and you're like, Morgan, I don't know where to start, that's also cool as well, because you can just go to your exec team and ask them, what have been some good emails and LinkedIn messages you've got, screenshot those, and then go from there. If you don't have either one of those scenarios, because someone's gonna be like, Morgan, I don't have either one of those. Well, go back to step number 2, do what I said on that, start reaching out, get responses, and then feed it into number 3. The goal is that you want Claude to sound like you and not like everyone else that puts things inside of Claude, because it's not that relevant. So if we're able to do that, that's how we're going to get success in leveraging AI, because now it's trained on your voice and what you want to talk about. So that's how you build that foundation across the board. So really think about that, right? Training Claude on your voice, finding winning messaging, or if it's, again, not winning messaging, getting someone else's messaging and going into there. But the goal is you want to back in and get an understanding of, why is this messaging important? Because you don't want to be the rep that just asks Claude to make you a great email, but it's not focused on your voice and who you are, right? Because then that's going to lead to AI slop, and ain't nobody got time for that. But what do you have time for is the book a strategy call with me. So if you're going through this right now and you're like, yeah, Morgan, this makes complete sense, but I really need some guidance on how to do this. This is exactly what we're doing with B2B companies right now through our program called Sales Team 6. It's a 4-month program where we diagnose exactly what's going on in your world, and then we train your team exactly on what to do, and then we give them coaching to make sure that they can consistently hit these numbers. And then obviously on top of that, helping them with their AI infrastructure, as we talk about this here with Claude, so you have better outreach. But speaking of better outreach, you need a rhythm. So if you want to get that done, go in the channel description. You can book a strategy call with me that's free, and we can chop it up. But let's get into the video, because we don't want to just blow up everybody once we get this messaging every single day. You want to focus on the channels and how you orchestrate those channels. So the main 3 channels in Outbound are email, call, and LinkedIn. You can do direct mails, you can do videos. But what I would recommend you all to do here is, I would actually take the data that you have from a sales engagement tool, the data that you have from, maybe you have like a HubSpot tool that does like an outreach as well, and then find the times where people view your emails and reply your emails the most. Leverage a calling tool, like most of you out there might have a calling tool like a Connect and Sell, a Nooks, an Orm, etc., or maybe a Gong, and just feed it the data from there and say, when do people pick up the phone the most based on the data? When do people open and reply the emails the most based on the data? And then that is the time slots that you need to take these activities I'm telling you about and prospect. So again, if I'm going back as a rep, you notice what I'm doing is I'm leveraging data that exists to find the places where I need to spend the most time. So if I leverage the data and it says, hey, based on all the reps across the company, we find that at 10 a.m. local time, that has the most connects, I'm cold calling at 10 a.m. And if it says, hey, most people reply on Fridays at 2 p.m., then I'm going to send my messages Friday at 2 p.m. on LinkedIn and email. This is just makes it easier for you to condition your behavior and condition your team's behavior to prospect it within windows that make sense. You could be the most skilled basketball player of all time. Screw the analogy I'm going with it, but you can be the skilled basketball player of all time. But if you go in there and there is a flat basketball with no air, it doesn't matter. And so that's what's actually happening with a lot of reps and teams. You're calling in time slots that have no activity. So it doesn't matter how skilled you are. You're not even getting opportunities to have the conversation. So leverage your data, map the data towards the times it tells you to. Your team should be calling and emailing and LinkedIn during those slots. And then you can get creative now with videos and direct mail outside of those slots, right? And have some super fun with it, right? And use those. In my videos, I talk about it, money making activities. You should be going like, okay, from 10 to 11, I know these calls hit. So I'm going to book meetings, which is money making activities, which is going to help me. That's the rhythm that compounds over time and will ultimately make your team successful. And how you measure all this at the end of the day is three things. Number one is we want to look at the reply rates that we're getting, the positive reply rates that are leading to meetings. Two, how many conversations does it take you to get a meeting? And the third is based on the responses that we're getting, is that actually leading into quality pipeline and close at the end of the day? So you want to look at, am I getting positive reply rates on LinkedIn at a 10%, right? So 1 out of 10 messages, I should get a reply. 1 out of 10 calls, I should be getting 3 meetings out of that. So that's like how you want to think about this as you get into the system and leverage Claude to do that and looking at the data. And ultimately, at the end of the day, take this information that I'm telling you, write this down. Claude doesn't write your outreach. Claude buys you back hours to be more magnetic, intuitive, and consistent as a human in your outreach. That's the game. Stop asking AI to write everything for you. Write this email, do this cold call. Like, don't do that. Start asking AI to make a better version of you based on the data that's there so you can go out and be the person you do. So, like, comment, subscribe. Happy prospecting, and we'll see you all in the next video to talk about some outbound strategy.